Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. What do we have here? So I think I'm gonna name this one "Beware of the Election Year." So we know in 2024 there's been a ton of events popping off seemingly back to back, especially here during the summer. Things been heating up, pun intended. Now, I just wanted to come on here and share some of my thoughts on some of the events, excuse me, that's been going on, and also to tell brothers and sisters to stay high minded in these times. Keep your head up. Don't get consumed with all of these events that's happening in the world, because it's all a part of the script. It's all a part of the plan. The things that we see, that's why we living in the matrix. All right, the things that we see are not real, meaning they're not genuine. They're not actual events that occur. They're all a part of a script, meaning they were planned ahead of time. Okay. Normally for ritualistic purposes. Okay. In the worship of pagan gods that's being done in the background, that also all at the same time allows the people that truly run this country to push different energies out on people to keep them in a state of confusion. All right. So that you really don't know what this place is actually about, because what they tell us on TV, that this place is about democracy and freedom and all this different stuff, is it's just a bunch of nonsense. Okay. It's a lie, compared to what this place is really about, which is just, Luciferianism, even satanic worship. All right. That's what this place is actually about, but they just can't tell you that, of course. So don't get consumed. Don't get consumed. Don't engage. Do not engage. All right. And don't be surprised when you have different family, people in your family, different friends that get consumed in this stuff, man. Don't go back and forth with people over different things in the political world. It's not really worth your time. Let's grab just a couple of scriptures here, and then we'll go into specific detail on some of the things that's been popping off that I wanted to touch on. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58. It says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord." So just keep your mind on the prize, as they say, right? Always abounding in the work of the Lord. And abounding in the work of the Lord is not always referring to, teaching someone the scriptures or teaching them that they're an Israelite. Also, the work on yourself. All right, that's what the real work is. That's the only work that you truly can control, is the work on yourself. And, I mean, you can't control teaching, someone else or whatever the case, but meaning what you truly can change is yourself, your daily habits. All right, your spirit, working on your spirit, praying, fasting. All right, actually applying the scriptures that you read, because you can read all day, every day, but actually applying the scriptures, that's the work of the Lord, really. But be steadfast, unmovable in these times. All right, don't let all this stuff going on get you swayed back and forth, and then now you, you joining everybody else talking about these police shootings, and all of this stuff is again, it's just not real. All right. For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Okay. And let's get 2 Timothy chapter 3 and in verse 1. "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." Verse 2. "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy." Verse 3. "Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, and incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors." Verse 4. "Heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High. Verse 5, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. So that describes this society perfectly at this current time. All right, so you can't be astonished when you see it. I know a lot of brothers that they still get surprised when they see these certain events play out in this country. When they see people, see so-called black people still fully committed on being Democrats, even though after all these years, nothing has changed no matter who is in office, but we still are dead set on, voting for Democrats or voting for this president or supporting now Kamala Harris. This is all part of the plan, man. And until Christ comes back, when the sun no longer gives his light, meaning the sun, the knowledge of the other nations, then this is how it's going to be. So, you have to really accept that. We can reach out and teach those that are willing to be taught, like a lot of the people listen to this. But other than that, you got to kind of let people do what they're going to do, man. Just let your light shine, man. That's all you really can do. Let your own light shine. All right. Just don't get involved. Do not engage. Do not engage. But now let's talk specifically. I had a few things pulled up, a few things I really wanted to just touch on really quickly that I was thinking of. First thing, man. So our boy Trump then got hit, huh? So Trump in his so-called assassination attempt, even a lot of the people that are, quote unquote liberals, or really both sides, conservatives or whatever the case, none of these people really think this event was a true assassination attempt, because the shooter, this cat was just on a roof by the event and nobody even saw him, allegedly. Like, how was that possible, really? But you can see Trump here throwing up the fist of Baal, kind of showing you what's really going on here. Did he really even get hit in the ear by a bullet for real? I don't know. I would say no for sure, but who really knows exactly how it went down? The man could have a ketchup packet in his hand. Right there in that hand right there is a ketchup packet. Mess around, open it up, and Heinz packet fall out from McDonald's. But nah, either way, this is something that really galvanized the people, and it looks like it got so-called black people to kind of vote for Trump. Like he got a quote-unquote gangster edge on him now. People are playing the Mini Man song and referring to Trump. Well, it remains to see what they were truly trying to accomplish here, outside of galvanizing this character even more, because this dude Trump, man, this dude got a lot of power. When I say a lot of power, don't take that the wrong way, especially y'all that still out in the world and think Trump is the biggest racist that ever exists. I'm not saying he is or isn't, but y'all think everybody else is just innocent, I guess, but he just the worst of the worst. But either way, this dude, man, he could say anything and it just becomes news. It's really something else. They really created his character, and I'm using the word character because, again, who these people actually are and who they and how they're presented to us are two completely different people. But yeah, he's throwing up the fist of Baal to show you what's truly going on here. Nothing really I want to touch on. We kind of know at this point. At the time I'm recording this, this happened a while ago now. What was it? July 14th. So it's been a couple of weeks. We all know what happened here. But yeah, y'all tell me what y'all think about this bullet. Was it actually a bullet that hit him, or is this actual blood here? More than likely it is. Whether it was a bullet that hit him or not, because these people do believe in true blood sacrifices. But I don't think it was an actual attempt and he just survived. I think I've seen people say that. I don't believe so. If they really wanted to take him out, they definitely would have hit. But what else is going on? Biden stepping down from the presidential race. I think they had no choice. They also knew that this was going to happen too. But either way, they really had no choice because this dude Biden, he can barely form two sentences in a row. They already knew that he was not going to win the election. Now, each and every election is rigged. And I truly believe that the 2020 election was definitely rigged. I think Donald Trump would have beat Joe Biden 100% if the votes were counted correctly. But either way, they try not to make it too obvious. I think if Joe Biden would have won the 2024 election, it would have been too obvious that it was rigged. I mean, who's really voting for this cat at this point? Slow Joe. I mean, again, this dude is barely coherent. I mean, have y'all seen him? It's really something else that this dude is supposed to be the quote unquote president of the United States. I mean, if you another nation and you looking at this right now, I mean, wow, I would be like, let's go attack these niggas because they ain't got it together. If this is who they have represent their country, oh no, they weak. That's what I would think. And now it's transitioned over to this person, quote unquote, Kamala Harris. Man, we're going to talk about that in a second. No, I think I got that pulled up next. But yeah, that's another thing. So especially for the brothers, like one thing I wanted to say real quick, do not pay these women any attention. Do not engage with them. They're going to, be talking about this Kamala Harris stuff. They're going to say, I support her. It doesn't make any sense. She seemed to have disappeared for the last 2-3 years, really. I haven't seen too much of her at all for her to be a vice president. But, she just surfaces back up, and now she's supposed to be running for president. She at least been endorsed to do so. So we'll see. But, yeah, do not engage with these women out here. Do not be surprised if it's your own parents or sisters or whatever the case, even your woman. If your woman coming out doing this, you try to talk to her, but if she ain't with it, then she probably ain't gonna be the one. So I'm with her. For what? She not even a so-called black woman. She's just a woman. But I show you that women will support women no matter what. Most of them are feminists, whether they say it or not. But anyways, yeah, it's also interesting that Trump now he's ran against women here twice. So it's really interesting. It remains to see if she goes through and she's the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Will she win? Will we have the first woman president? We'll see. I think no. I think, again, if they do it, it's just going to be completely rigged, just like they all are. But, I mean, come on. She doesn't have the following or the support that Trump has by a long shot. And nobody should be supporting her anyways. Like, I thought that so-called black people hated the cops, hated the feds. This chick here was solely responsible for imprisoning a ton of so-called black people with that 3 strikes rule. But I guess we just forgot that. And also, it's always interesting to me that Candace Owens is always criticized for being with a so-called white man, but Kamala Harris is never. Why is that? It's just when it's convenient for our people to say, oh, was you with a white man or whatever the case, they'll say it. But when it's not, they don't want to talk about it. The same thing with Serena Williams. And what's the double standard? Like, if the so-called black man is with a white woman, let it be a black man president. Like if Obama was married to a white woman, they wouldn't even want to deal with him. And that's always how it is. If the black man is with a so-called white woman, there's always an issue. But the so-called black woman, not really Kamala Harris, because she's not a so-called black woman, but you get the point. Any woman, but especially the so-called black woman, if she's with a so-called white man, it's no problem. It's no issue. Always that double standard there. But yeah, that kind of led to Kamala Harris, another character. All characters, you know, just executing a plot, just like a movie. What we're watching is a literal movie. All right. This whole election, this whole race, they're all characters. They given a script and they taught to execute on the plot. Okay. And the world is the audience. That's all this really is. And when you truly understand what that means, that this is not real. This is not a genuine interaction. This is not a genuine election. Nothing about it or these people are real. They're just putting out characters. Then you don't get affected by it. But of course, everyone in the world, they're never going to truly accept that or believe it or understand it or know it. So, you just do not engage. You just do not really pay this stuff any attention. We look at it so we'll know what's going on around us. But from a standpoint of, letting this stuff bug you out, don't be out here bugged out, man. Don't be out here going back and forth with people in the world. It's just a huge waste of time. All right. And the other thing I wanted to talk about too, that also is part of the script. I find something, I find this really interesting and I wanted to talk about it really quickly. This quote unquote police brutality, which I don't even want to put that in quotes. It is police brutality, but I call this a police brutality era. I was thinking back one day, and it was like I was just thinking how like this country, it goes into these different eras or phases. You remember, I know y'all remember, and some of y'all may be too young to remember, but you probably heard of it, like the different religious cults that we've had in this country at one point, like David Koresh, Jim Jones, Charles Manson, so on and so forth. We had that era where all these religious cult leaders were popping up and sacrificing their members, sometimes in the hundreds or whatever the case. Then you had like a serial killer era, like the DC sniper. Who else? I mean, even like the deranged serial killers, like the Jeffrey Dahmers or Ted Bundys. You had a different era there where these people were just popping up left and right, killing people, just seemingly for no reason. And then not too long ago, you also had a school shooting era where Columbine High School, Sandy Hook, Parkland High School down there in Florida, where you had all these different mass school shootings that seemed to just occur back to back to back to back to back. Now you really don't see them anymore. Now you don't really see the serial killers anymore, right? Now you don't really see the cult members, at least the cult members where they're sacrificing their members and things like that, especially in the tens or hundreds of members. You really don't see that much anymore. But now what you see is these police shootings, especially by so-called black people, or so-called black people being killed, and them pushing it all in the media and international and national news. I just believe that's the era that we've now pushed ourselves towards. And all of these eras, by the way, are all alphabet agency, CIA, FBI, whatever the case, controlled events. All of them. All of them. Okay. If you understand what MK Ultra is, you can look at like a David Koresh or a Jim Jones and know that he was programmed to set out that mission to kill those people. Okay. Or did I say Jeffrey Dahmer or whatever the case, Jeffrey Dahmer, all these people. Okay. The shooters in the Columbine High School shooting, the Sandy Hook shootings, so on and so forth. All MK Ultra Delta program assets setting out on the mission and fulfilling it. If you are not familiar with what MK Ultra is or what I'm saying, you think I'm crazy, it's okay. One of these days, I'm going to do a lesson on it too. And it's going to be undeniable once you really see the patterns of these same people. Of these people, they have the same patterns of MK Ultra assets. They all have these same patterns, these same characteristics about them. And a lot of times they have these same backgrounds where their parents are in the military. You can tell that's where they were programmed to do this. But anyways, if you don't if you don't know what that means or understand what I'm saying, again, it's okay. You can look it up yourself. Sometimes people think MK Ultra is a quote unquote conspiracy theory until you realize that the only thing that can quote unquote even be controversial, or I mean a quote unquote conspiracy theory or controversial, is the fact that it's still being done, but it's not to be debated or disputed that it was ever a thing, because it was a part of a Supreme Court ruling. It's not whether it happened or not. It's just you know, them admitting that it's still going on now, which if you know how the U.S. work, you know they would not put down a successful program like MK Ultra. And the fact that they put it in so many different movies and different films or whatever the case, you know that it didn't go anywhere. So again, a lot of times the things that you're seeing is not real. It's all for a ritualistic purpose to push out different energies on the society to keep them in a state of confusion. So you don't really understand what's going on here. All right, because this is Babylon. That's how you keep the people controlled. But anyways, going in, speaking of that, so we have, I didn't see too many people talking about this. What we know about Devontae Mitchell, a black man who died after being pinned to the ground in Milwaukee. Dang, they loved pulling out these rituals in Milwaukee. But anyways, Devontae Mitchell, someone else, a brother that was killed by the police. Another brother that was killed by the police. And again, it's an election year. A lot of these police brutality shootings, they seem to occur in election years. Not all the time. I'm not saying every single one. It's not like they skip every 4 years. But they do seem to skip every 2 years or so, especially on the fourth year when it is an election year. And I truly believe that most of these are, they're not, how do I say this? They're not genuine events, okay? They're scripted events, especially like a George Floyd. I mean, that was a ritualistic sacrifice in and out, all right? If you know what you're looking at. Especially, again, when you have one shooting or one event that makes international and national news, you know that it was either A, planned that way, or B, it wasn't planned, but they boosted it in the media to fulfill a certain purpose. It's always one of the two. Because let me tell you, people die every day, B. They do. Police kill people, not every single day. I'm not going to say nothing like that, but it's way more often than what you would think. And it doesn't make the news, There's some really gruesome things that happen, a lot more gruesome than a lot of things that we see on the national media, but it never makes the news. Here in Birmingham, I remember it was like in 2016, there was a brother that he went through and killed. It was his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend and a daughter. He killed his girlfriend at that time. He killed his girl, and then he killed himself. And it was a big thing here, but it never made national news. Why? Because stuff like that, I mean, those things happen a lot more often than what you would think. But why doesn't it make national news? Why does you will have one person that's kidnapped or that's gone missing, and then everybody knows about it. It's all over the news. And then somebody else within the same circumstances, it doesn't make national news. Like a lot of people in the city that it happened in, they don't know about it. Why? Because again, either A, it was a programmed event to fill a ritualistic purpose, or B, maybe it wasn't planned, but the numerology around it, or whatever the case, the media boosted it for a ritualistic purpose, or whatever the case, whatever purpose that they wanted to push. So you have to keep these things in mind. But it says Devontae Mitchell was his mother's big teddy bear who enjoyed music, cooking, and art, and was a beloved brother, uncle, and father of two. I think with these new sacrifices, they really like boosting their character up now. Before They really like having, the reform thug kind of person, like Michael Brown, like someone that was out in the streets and then they got killed. So the debate was, did he deserve it and all that? But now they kind of like having the good person that be killed. So it creates a even bigger division and divide amongst people. It says Mitchell 43 died on June 30th, 6'3", after he was pinned down by hotel security guards outside of Hyatt Regency in Milwaukee. So I won't say police brutality on this per se, but it kind of falls in that category. It puts people in that same mindset. In Milwaukee, in an incident partially captured on video, hotel employees have been fired since the incident, and police have referred 4 charges of felony murder in Mitchell's death. Milwaukee police said in a statement to CNN Friday, while an ongoing homicide investigation is underway and the full results of the autopsy are pending. And it says here, the encounter comes as the use of force, particularly against people of color, by police and others in authority roles remains under scrutiny nearly 4 years after protests flared nationwide following the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. So you see that they make it all about race. Okay, and I'm not saying that they're supposed to ignore it or not mention it at all, but you can just tell by the headline. It says a black man who died. Like, why do you have to say a black man? You normally don't see that, like a white man who died, or a Mexican man who died, a Hispanic man, an Indian man, but they had to put that in the headline. CNN did, a black man who died after being pinned to the ground, because they know that the easiest way to create energy of chaos and confusion is through the racist aspect, because it's going to get both sides going back and forth at each other. And this is all leading into, what the scriptures, what we will call World War III, or what the scriptures will call Armageddon. All right, the last war. This is kind of what everything is gearing up to, because that will happen. But either way, just do not engage. These types of things, again, you never really know, but normally these things make national news like this. It's a programmed event. Okay. It is a programmed event. And by the way, I don't want to be insensitive. I hate when things like this does happen to our brothers and sisters, but at the same time, I do want us to understand and know what's going on. So another thing is, what's going on now is the Sonya Massey killing. I do not find it a coincidence that we have yet another so-called black woman that was killed. Remember Breonna Taylor? They didn't let that Breonna Taylor stuff go for a minute, did they? I mean, they were going hard about that. That also was in 2020, another election year. And now that we have another woman running, that being Kamala Harris, why else not, have something like this hit the mainstream media? All right, to galvanize, especially the so-called black woman, to have her, oh yeah, now I know we need a vote. So stuff like this don't happen. This is only happening under Trump. Even though Biden is president right now, they'll still blame Trump. Like every time Trump is running, they'll still blame it on him, even if he's not the president. Well, it's all these Trump supporters that's all hyped up because he running for president, even though Biden is the current president. Really something else, man. But anyways, that's why I believe that they boosting this in the media right now, really just to get the woman galvanized and have her with her normal rhetoric. Black men don't protect us. Where's the black man protecting Sonya and all this other stuff that they be saying? You see a woman like that, you better turn the opposite direction. I don't care who it is. Your woman, a random woman on the internet, do not engage. All right, what we know about the deputy charged with killing Sonya Massey in her home after she called 911 for help. And I think this whole storyline too It's just to boost up the engagement even more. Like she called the police and then they killed her. You know what I mean? And this was done on July the 6th. If you know, you know. But 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 is a tarot for death. A lot of times you'll see the number 13 equating for death. I'm going to mention stuff like that here and there, but here in particular in this video, I'm not going I'm not going to go too deep into it. But either way, the family of Sonia Massey is calling for a probe into the hiring of a sheriff's deputy charged with fatally shooting a 36-year-old black woman in her Illinois home this month. Again, a black woman. You know, a lot of times they really don't say that with the other races. They don't say a white man or white woman, especially a white woman in her Illinois home. They really don't be saying that. Citing their concerns over records showing he'd worked at 6 law enforcement agencies in 4 years and was charged with driving under the influence twice. So that's kind of the reverse of what I was saying earlier. Like now they like having a police officer. Oh, he had all this stuff going on before. Really, he's just a patsy anyways. A patsy meaning a fall guy. Or he's either MK Ultra programmed asset himself or just someone that's taken a fall. Probably both of them, though, I would say. But as you see, she was 36 years of age, 3 6s. Okay. And again, I don't want to be insensitive because I'm not saying that she didn't actually die. I'm not saying things like that, just so you know. And I'm not saying that you should not care about this woman and her family, because it is quite unfortunate either way. But that is the reality, that this country, this society will sacrifice people to push whatever agenda they want to push. Okay, that's just the reality of it. It's been going on since antiquity, since the ancient world. Just you can read about it in the scriptures. Okay, blood sacrifice or human sacrifice has always been a part of history. It's no different now. Nothing has changed. All right. So again, I'm not trying to be insensitive here. Not saying that because sometimes people think, oh, she didn't actually die. It's not real. She's not a real person. No, she's a real person. She was a real person, and she was brutally killed. However, the reason behind that is not what we were made out to believe. All right, and here's the fall guy, Sean Grayson. I'm gonna look more into this dude here to see what we can pull up. Is it CNN has saw comment of Grayson's attorney? Massey is one of a number of black women who have been killed by police in their own homes in recent years, including Breonna Taylor and Tatiana Jefferson. I'm going to have to look into Tatiana Jefferson, but I brought up Breonna Taylor earlier. And this is what I was looking at. I stopped for a second. In a news conference Monday afternoon, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who represents Massey's family, connected her death to other cases of police violence against black people across the U.S. So when you see Ben Crump on the case, you already know what it is. Okay, he only touches these high profile police brutality cases. Why? Because he's a controlled asset himself. All right, because he knows how to control the media. He's good at his job, is playing his role. Okay, not because he's that good of an attorney. It's because he's part of the system. Okay, it's all part of the elaborate plot that they pulling out on these people. I mean, on the people, excuse me, on this society. So I saw also that there was exactly like 36 minutes. Yeah, the Illinois State Police on Monday released 36 minutes of video. Yeah, I'm telling you, 100% ritualistic sacrifice, 100%. Okay, and just again, do not engage. We're gonna see our people go crazy over social media and all of that, but just know what it is. Just know what it is. I think that was pretty much it. I just had a few things I wanted to kind of go into and touch on. Because with all this going on, it's remiss of me not to make a video at least touching on these different things. But I think that's pretty much it. Unless I'm missing something else that's been going on. I had the Microsoft outages with flights pulled up too, but that's also what I believe too, is to just keep people kind of in confusion and make you feel like, everything is crashing down, which it is, but y'all let me know if I miss anything or your perspectives on the different events that are going on too. The assassination attempt, Biden stepping down, Kamala Harris, the second woman that he is being pitted against for the presidential election of the United States in this year. And yeah, anything else, let me know if I missed anything else. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until the next time, I bid everyone a mighty shalom.